Today, I'm sharing some small changes, micro changes that have made a big difference in my life. These are small tweaks and most are super simple, which is probably why they've stuck. These micro changes have helped me feel better, be more productive, and function a bit smoother day to day. And they're kind of all over the place: health, habits, mindset. But I figure if they've helped me, they might help you too. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new, and let's get into it. I used to get so disappointed and feel like I was failing if I couldn't work a long walk into my day to get my steps in, and that happened pretty frequently. I work from home, so it's hard to get in all the steps I need. So I started working mini walks into my day, just randomly, 5 to 10 minutes here or there, outside, around the house, on my walking pad, and it adds up. I'm able to get my steps in, and adding those short bursts of movement, those few minutes at a time, gives a cumulative effect. It makes a difference with energy, health, longevity. So if you've had an all or nothing approach like I did, this might be something you want to think about. Now, a quick side note, and this might seem backwards, but I moved my walking pad from behind my standing desk. I know that works really well for most people because they like to work behind their standing desk and it gives them some movement. But I find I use it more when it's out in the open. I can hop on quicker and faster, and I like having my hands free. It just felt a little bit claustrophobic behind my standing desk. It was more limiting for me. So I can do other things, watch TV, check my emails on my phone. And there's actually some research out there showing that the 10,000 steps number we're supposed to be getting was just this arbitrary number that was thrown out there, and we actually need closer to 7,000 to 8,000 steps. That's a lot more achievable, and it's linked to longer lifespans. Now, I'm not the expert on that, so do your own research, form your own opinions on that. But adding short bursts of movement throughout the day instead of worrying about getting this long walk in has made a big difference for me. This next one came about when I was really sick and incredibly congested. I could only sleep propped against the arm of the sofa with a stack of pillows underneath me, but I could breathe, and I noticed that my face was not puffy in the mornings. So at first, when I went back to sleeping in my bed, I got a wedge pillow from Amazon, but I found after a bit it just felt bulky and it was a bit too high. So since then, what I've been doing is sleeping with a Euro pillow. That's one of the square kind of decorative pillows, one that's not too poofy, it kind of squishes down. I sleep with that underneath my regular pillow. It gives me just enough lift to help me with the congestion and puffiness, and I sleep all night comfortably. It's such a small change, but I wake up feeling better because I haven't been congested all night. I have a deviated septum, so that's a pretty big deal to me, and I don't have facial puffiness either. I could elaborate on other things, more things I do for better sleep hygiene, better sleep in general. I do a few things because poor sleep is so detrimental to our everyday life, especially when you're over 40. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more about that in another video. As we get older, we start to notice everything gets drier, maybe at different rates, but our skin, hair, nails, eyes, mouth, you name it, it happens. And that's because as estrogen fluctuates and depletes, it affects our fluid balance and we start to lose minerals we need like sodium and potassium. And if you're stressed on top of that, it can make things even worse. And even if you're drinking the adequate amount of water you need, it just doesn't help replenish all those minerals. So I started adding in a daily electrolyte drink mix into one of my waters every day. Not one of the ones that's made for athletes that has a ton of sodium. I'm drinking mine right now. It's mixed into my water as we speak. I can always tell a difference, especially with my eyes and my mouth, when I slack off. Sometimes I do go a few days without drinking it, without adding this in, and I can always tell. So I use Ultima. I'll put a picture of it here on screen. You can get a variety pack to try out different flavors. That's what I did in the beginning, and then I ended up getting a little tub of the raspberry flavor. That's what this is. It's not overloaded with sodium. It doesn't have any sugar, and I really like the taste. I'm sure there are other brands that are low in sodium with no sugar too, but this is the brand I use and love. If you're interested, you can get it on Amazon too. This has been incredibly beneficial for me. I can just tell a difference when I don't do it. I want to take a brief moment to thank MIDI Health for partnering with me on this portion of today's video. If you've experienced any health concerns you couldn't resolve with your doctor or you didn't feel heard, that's where MIDI comes in. I think as many women as possible should know about reputable online healthcare options like MIDI, so I'm continuing to spread the word. MIDI is a virtual care clinic on a mission to bring high quality, compassionate medical care to women in all stages of life for perimenopause, menopause, weight issues, and other health concerns. They've helped hundreds of thousands of women get the care and support they need. And if you're a woman over 35, you very well could be in perimenopause, which is diagnosed by symptoms. With MIDI, you can enjoy no rush visits from the comfort of your own home versus driving to an office or a clinic, waiting in the waiting room, waiting in the patient room, and then driving back home. MIDI is accepted by major insurance plans in all 50 states. Their website is very user-friendly. You enter your information, select insurance or self-pay, book your visit, and then fill out a health questionnaire. And then when it's time for your visit, you meet with your clinician, discuss your symptoms and any healthcare concerns or goals you have. And after your visit, everything related to your visit is available in the portal, where you can also message your clinician and schedule any follow-up visits. I've had thorough conversations with my clinician about all kinds of things related to perimenopause: HRT, weight, nutrition, lifestyle changes, vitamins and supplements, sleep, skin, you name it. I really like that MIDI uses a holistic scientific treatment approach, from supplements to lifestyle coaching to hormonal and non-hormonal treatments. I started HRT about a year ago and added MIDI's daily cortisol supplements to my routine several months ago. I've talked about it a couple of times here on the channel. It, combined with my progesterone, has helped me tremendously with those middle of the night wake ups. I was really struggling with that, and I'm now getting a more solid, restful night's sleep. Now for the supplements, there's no visit necessary. You can order them anytime. I just think they're a fantastic addition to the virtual care that MIDI provides and has been providing to so many women. So if you're looking for personalized, compassionate, convenient care for menopause, perimenopause, weight issues, or other health concerns, check my description box down below where you can find more information or book your first MIDI visit. Being more intentional with my protein and fiber intake has been a game changer for me. They say women our age need at least 100 grams of protein and at least 25 grams of fiber each day. And when I actually started aiming for those targets, I felt fuller longer, my energy was steadier, and my digestion improved because I was actually eating the amount of fiber I needed to be eating. I'm more regular, and TMI alert, the consistency of my bowel movements is what it should be. I used to just kind of guess if I was getting enough of each, but once I realized how important each of these were, I did start tracking, and I realized because they're both so filling, if I was getting enough of one, I was lacking in the other. So for me at first, when I was really starting to stay on target, I did need to track to make sure I was eating enough of both. Ideally, you want to get your fiber from food. I personally find that a bit difficult, especially when I'm eating adequate protein, which is probably why so many people rely on fiber supplements. So I added a fiber supplement to my routine. As my coffee is brewing in the morning, I mix my fiber supplement into a glass of water to take my vitamins first thing. This not only starts my day off right with water, but I'm consuming 1 to 2 glasses of water first thing in the morning, so that's a great start for my daily water consumption too. And if I need a small fiber boost later in the day, I keep the Chalk Zero caramels on hand. They have 7 grams of fiber each. They're sugar-free and gluten-free too. Now, as far as protein goes, I always try to ensure every single meal has at least 30 grams of protein, including breakfast, a staple I keep in my refrigerator at all times to help me achieve that, which always grosses some people out, but you can blend it to a perfectly smooth yogurt consistency, is cottage cheese. It actually has a very bland taste, so when you blend it to that yogurt consistency, you can mix it into anything and it adds so much protein. You can mix it or blend it into so many different foods, and it ups the protein content tremendously without altering the food. Now, I don't always feel the need to blend it, but I know some people do, so I just wanted to throw that out there in case the consistency, the texture is bothersome to you. If I scramble a couple of eggs, I will also add in about 1/4 cup of cottage cheese. If you do that, you don't need water, you don't need milk. It makes them super creamy and fluffy. I also stir in about 1/3 to 1/2 cup of cottage cheese into my oatmeal. It also makes them creamier and more filling. My healthy alternative to using creamer in my coffee when I'm at home is to use some of a Premier protein shake. It tastes really good. I also enjoy these at night to satisfy my sweet tooth instead of having something junky. So those are just a couple of ways I keep my protein up without overthinking it. This one is so simple, but it really lifts my mood. I love music, I always have, but I realized I wasn't playing it that often during the day. I usually work in silence and I don't like a TV on in the background. Quiet doesn't bother me at all, and sometimes entire days will go by where I only listen to podcasts, audiobooks, or, watch TV at night. But I notice on days when I have fun music on, enjoyable music, even if it's just for 10, 20 minutes, when I'm getting ready, doing stuff around the house, taking a break, whatever it is, I'm in such a better mood. It's such a small thing, but it shifts the energy of my day in the best way. It sounds obvious, right? Of course, music helps your mood, but it's one of those things I think sometimes we just forget to do. We might listen to it in the car, but maybe forget to just put it on randomly at home. But I started making a point to hit play and listen to some music at least once a day randomly, and it really does make a huge difference. I think this could be easy to be dismissive of if you've never done it. I mean, I know I was kind of dismissive of it before I ever did it, but this one has been huge for me mentally. It's human nature to focus on the negative, especially with stress, anxiety, hormones, life, all of it. Our brains almost get wired to look for problems or what's going wrong, and when you're over 40, that almost seems to escalate, right? But there's actual research showing that focusing on the positive can actually shift your mindset and how you experience day-to-day life. The energy you put out is the energy you get back, and I've actually experienced that myself. It doesn't mean pretending life is perfect. It just helps stop your brain from living in negativity all the time. So I started intentionally focusing on gratitude each day. I'm not talking about anything super woo-woo or complicated or anything like that. Sometimes it's literally just taking a minute to think of a few things I'm grateful for as I'm getting ready in the morning or before I go to bed at night. Other times I write down 1 to 3 things in a journal. Sometimes I have time to sit down and actually journal a few pages. It just depends on my mood. This has had such a positive impact on my life since I started doing it. So if you haven't done it, I highly encourage you. I think this is one that might surprise you if you haven't done it. This is such a small change that made a huge difference in how focused and calm I feel during the day. I went into my phone settings and turned off all notifications except for actual communications like texts and calls. So no app badges, no random buzzes, no, someone liked your post, none of that. I didn't realize how often I would get derailed during the day because my phone would buzz or it would light up and I would just pick it up to look at it for no reason. Even when I wasn't actively checking my phone, just seeing those constant notifications rolling in all the time left me feeling mentally cluttered. And now if my phone goes off, if I see it light up or if it buzzes, I know it's for something that actually matters. And the rest of the time, I can stay focused on whatever I'm doing without feeling like I'm being pulled in 10 different directions. It's such a small tweak, but it really protects my time and my mental space. I enjoy socializing, but I am definitely more of an introvert than my husband, who could be around people and go 24/7. I like being around the right people, but after a long work day or work week especially, I usually am perfectly content curled up on my sofa next to my dog, watching a good show or movie. I think there's something healthy about enjoying your own company and solitude. I also think a lot of us become a bit more introverted in perimenopause and menopause. Your social battery just changes a bit or something. But I have noticed something over and over again. I'm almost always in a better mood when I go out and do something extra social or unexpected. Even when I didn't initially feel like it or I kind of dreaded it, sometimes doing something different from my normal routine actually refreshes me. So I actually think this micro change is about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, especially if you're a woman over 40 and you're just more content about being home. You just really enjoy your peace, your solitude, instead of automatically defaulting to what you usually do. Maybe just push yourself a little and you might actually find yourself refreshed mentally because of doing so. This micro change leads into the one that follows. So even though posting on social media is sometimes part of my job, I have to put limits on my scroll time. I do understand that's easier said than done. I completely stopped getting on TikTok and on Instagram Reels first thing in the morning and last thing at night because it's terrible for my mindset and focus. There are actually studies about how doing so first thing in the morning and last thing at night can alter and affect your brain chemistry. And if I do get on Instagram Reels or TikTok during the day, I head right to my phone timer and set a time limit for myself because otherwise an hour or 2 hours or longer will fly by before I know it. I have friends who unapologetically scroll for hours and no judgment. I just know that is not good for me personally. I never feel better afterward. I always feel mentally cluttered and like I wasted time I could have spent doing something else. So if social media is a time suck for you, like it is for most people, you may want to ban yourself from getting on first thing in the morning and last thing at night, and set time limits for yourself too. Scrolling social media on my phone, binging shows, working, other things in life slowly took over reading, which is something I used to love to do. Years ago, I devoured books, and somewhere along the way, that was just replaced with other things. So in 2024, I set a simple goal to read 12 books, one a month. That's absolutely doable, right? Well, I only ended up reading 6. I was really disappointed with that, but at the same time, not really surprised. I kept starting and stopping for long periods of time because I had this mindset that if I couldn't read a whole chapter or a big chunk, it just wasn't worth it. And my daughter, who reads constantly, kept encouraging me to pick it back up just to read a little bit each day because I do love it. And then one day it just clicked for me. If I read just 10 pages a day, I could get through a 300-page book in a month. 10 pages, that's nothing. I fly through 10 pages. That's when I stopped looking at reading like it was this big event and I really just started enjoying it for what it was. Everything just changed. In 2025, I set my goal to 15 books. I achieved it easily. In 2026, my goal is 20 books. I don't read every night, but I read pretty consistently now. Sometimes I do read 10 to 20 pages. Sometimes I read entire chapters. I'm just so much more flexible with it now that I don't have an all or nothing mindset. But more importantly, I love reading again. So my point with this micro change is reclaiming something you love that you've, maybe not done for a long time. Even if it's in small doses, it can make your days feel fuller and make you feel more you. So these are some of the tiny changes I've made that have had a big impact on my life, whether it's my mood, energy, productivity, or just how I feel overall. And none of these are major overhauls either, which is kind of the point. And I do have more. So let me know if you want to see a part 2 down in the comments. And if any of these sparked something for you to try, drop that in the comments too so we can get ideas from each other. Or if you have a micro change that made a difference for you, I'd love to hear that too. Thanks for spending time with me today. I hope you're leaving with at least one takeaway that feels doable. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.